Our two Waller County Judge candidates will please come to the front. We will determine starting order here and begin in just a moment. Okay, just to refresh, 1 minute opening statement each. We'll reverse order, 1 minute response, Q&A, 1 minute closing. Sylvia, she won the toss. So 1 minute, whenever you're ready.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sylvia Cedillo. I'm a candidate for Waller County Judge, and I enjoy public service. As your Waller County Judge, I would be able to use my elected experience and professional experience to work with you and to work for you. Every Waller County Judge election is important. The reality is that Waller County is situated next to Houston, the fourth largest city in the country. Because Houston is booming, Waller County is booming. And as a community, we need to work with that reality, which means addressing population growth, which means addressing economic development, as well as mobility needs. I also believe we have to work on our community branding. I would like Waller County to be branded as a great place to live. I've raised two daughters here in Waller County, and they have benefited from all that Waller County has to offer. As a county judge, I want to continue to be known as an experienced leader who listens. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cedillo. Mr. Duhon, 1 minute when you're ready.
Thank you. I appreciate the time to be here today. My name is Trey Duhon. I am the Republican candidate for Waller County Judge. Very quickly, I agree that there are some very pressing issues facing this county. Growth is huge. Facilities are all huge. But all of these problems that we're facing, we're not going to be able to do that if we don't have effective leadership. And I think the one thing that I want to talk about with my opening statement, a smart person once told me the only thing a public official can ever own is the trust and support of those they serve. That is what I'm going to be committed to doing first and foremost, is we're going to rebuild the trust in Waller County. Once we rebuild that trust, we can work on growth. We can work on planning. We can work on all the things that we need to do to make Waller County a better place to live and work. My name is Trey Duhon. I am the Republican candidate for Waller County Judge, and I would love to have your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Trey. Now we will go in reverse order. Trey, you can begin 1 minute response.
A 1 minute response.
1 minute response, whenever you're ready.
Just
the opening statement. So
okay, great. My platform has been the same since I declared my candidacy over a year ago. Open and honest government, transparency is huge. Using technology that's available to us to give people the information they need so they never, ever again say, I didn't know what was going on, I didn't know that was happening. Long-range planning, and there's so many issues that come up, emergency management, building fire codes, county facilities. We're looking at critical needs on our county facilities. I am going to work as hard as I can with Commissioners Court and with all of the folks in this county to make sure we have public input at all stages. I'm going to try as hard as I can to make sure that all of you have all the information that you need, that you can access as easy as possible whenever you can, so that you know when the decisions are being made, who is making the decisions, and why they're making those decisions. There's not going to be any more closed-door things happening in this county. I'm just not going to allow it to happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Trey. Ms. Cedillo, 1 minute.
All right. Thank you. I just want to share that because of what is going on in Waller County, because we're on the brink of a lot of things, because development is happening so quickly, because we've had some breaks with regard to public confidence, because we're involved in two awful lawsuits. Let's just call them what they are. We need a leader who is willing to work with all kinds of situations and who brings experience to the table. I think that's incredibly, incredibly important at this time. And one of the things that I have learned through my experience as a county commissioner is that the job of the county judge is to serve as an ambassador for this county, to speak nothing but good things about this county, to make sure that the county is represented in the best way possible, in the best light possible to all agencies, to all people, and not to get into any kind of disputes, fighting, not to act like an attorney. That's what our elected DA is supposed to do. But it's also to make sure that people do have public confidence, that people do understand how government works. All of that has historically been important to me and would continue to be important to me as your county judge. Thank you.
And thank you. Okay, so now for the Q&A portion of the program tonight, just to reiterate, I'm not going to time the answers to the questions. The spirit of this is to allow both of you guys to have the same amount of time to answer each question, 2 or 3 minutes. And this is not a debate. So I know there's going to be maybe a challenge when we go back and answer previous questions, but just keep that in mind. And I know you could spend hours talking about each one of these, so keep that in mind as well. Okay, that being said, Mrs. Cedillo, we'll begin with you, and you'll each get the opportunity to ask the same question, and we'll go in reverse order on subsequent questions. What do you identify as the 3 most important issues facing Waller County?
I think practically speaking, the 3 most important issues facing Waller County are population growth, how we're going to plan economic development, and for certain mobility needs. All of these issues need to be laid out on the table, put out in the public, and discussed. I think it's incredibly important that we understand that the reality is that Waller County is being squeezed from the north and the south. We've got tremendous growth up 1488 towards Magnolia, and we've got lots of housing developments that are planned. We certainly have seen what's happening here in the south end of the county with Willow Creek Farms and other developments. Those are good things for the county. But how do we address the other issues that will be spin-offs of that, which is protecting as we develop economically with regard to good corporations, and I want them all to be good corporations that are good corporate neighbors to the public, that give to us, that provide for us, that understand their role in the community. I think that's incredibly important. I know that Goya is here and they work to be a good corporate neighbor to the community. I think that's important. But we also need to understand that with economic development, with population growth, we will have our environment taxed for sure. And how do we plan to protect air quality, water quality, land quality in the future? It is here and now. Public servants are supposed to be honest. One of the things that I want to say to you is Waller County has not done the best job of planning, which affects us now and will certainly affect us in the future. We have got to address the reality in which we are living right now to understand what is going on with these issues. And I think those are the 3 most important issues because they all intersect. You cannot talk about population growth without talking about economic development or mobility. How are we going to move around? In campaigning of recent times, we've been able to go up and down FM 362, FM 359, those big 18-wheelers. They're going up and down the roads all the time. And that has become a newer part of my reality as I sought to become your next county judge. We have got to address all of those issues. So I would say those are the 3 most important things that are facing Waller County. Thank you.
And thank you, Ms. Cedillo. Mr. Duhon, 3 most important issues facing Waller County.
Thank you. It's a great question. I think without a doubt, the growth issue is a huge issue for Waller County. I think having an open and honest government to rebuild the trust so that we can deal with that growth issue. And when I say growth, not just the economic growth coming out, residential growth, mobility is in that category. But the third, also huge issue, is facilities, county facilities. We just got the results of a county facility study. We have a number of county buildings that are at critical mass. And we're talking they cannot keep going the way they are. We've used Band-Aids, and we're talking about buildings like a new jail. We're looking at anywhere from $12 to $18 million to build a new jail, depending on which forecast or which study you look at. We're looking at extensive renovations that are going to have to happen to the county courthouse, the Hempstead Library, the JP4 building. I mean, there are buildings that, and we are looking, it could be anywhere in the neighborhood of $30 to $40 million in facilities that are going to have to be fixed or rebuilt. So when you look at that and you consider that we have a $25, $27 million budget, that's huge. I mean, that is going to be one of the biggest things that this new Commissioners Court is going to have to deal with, is finding out a way to find the funding to address these issues and to prioritize and how we're going to pay for it over time. Growth, absolutely. Planning. Emergency services, the county, the flood planning, waste planning, water planning, mobility and transportation. We have got to do a lot more planning, short and long-term plans. Here we are, we have the landfill thing going on the north end. 3 years later, we don't have a waste management plan. I personally think it's inexcusable. So that's why within the first 90 days of taking office, I am committed to trying to get the Commissioners Court to start working on a waste management plan, a comprehensive waste management plan that involves the public input with public hearings. It needs to happen. And again, all of these things cannot happen unless we have open and honest government. I can't emphasize this enough. You can't be an effective leader. I can't lead this county if I only have the trust of half of it. I have to have the trust of everyone if we're all going to get the things done that need to be done. When it comes to open and transparent government, we need a lot more stuff online. We need public records online. We need a public information officer. We need a document retention policy. We need to know so people can have access to those information, whether it's an open records request or it's an open meetings notice. Those discussions have to happen in public. And there's been times in the past where they don't. And I think it's absolutely vital that everything be out there for everybody to see. The Texas Constitution says that all political power is inherent in the people and that our institutions are instituted for their benefit. That is something we have got to get back to. I mean, I call myself a conservative. I'm a Republican. I am committed to those values. And I will work as hard as I can to make sure the planning, the trust, the facilities, among other issues, because the Lord knows there's a lot, get addressed.
All right, thank you, Trey.